One of the more interesting opportunities in buying companies is being able to buy something extremely early before it gets too expensive, and you can really use that team to change the future trajectory of your company. Facebook's done this a number of times with companies like Parakeet. But they're different. All the acquisitions are difficult. I mean, there's plenty of studies out there that say 75% of large corporate acquisitions are, a waste of money. Early stage acquisitions are really even more difficult, and they're more difficult for 4 reasons. One is that in a startup, 80% of the value is what the startup was going to accomplish in the future, not what they have built, not what's already in place, but what they were going to build. And so the risk of you destroying something is much higher because it doesn't even exist yet. So you really have a huge risk of destroying their future and never allowing them to become successful. And this happens, of course, all the time. You only have to look at what, the Yahoo acquisition of Delicious and the Delicious being bought back for next to nothing, or 50 other deals that have happened like that to see that. The second reason that they're more difficult is there is an extremely tight, strong culture in most startups. Yet the team involved who has that culture is very small. So if you have a 20-person team who has a very strong culture and really believes that things should work one way, and they're absorbed into a 2,000-person company, I don't care how strong the leaders are in that 20-person company, it's very hard for that culture and that DNA to survive being absorbed into a large company. A lot of people talk about making sure you acquire companies who have enough of a critical mass and they can survive on their own, just so that not only they can survive on their own financially, but so they can protect their culture that made them successful in the past. The next is, when you're doing a big acquisition, you usually identify 20 or 30 key players across even a billion-dollar company to make sure they're really locked in and are incented in the right direction. Because you can sort of figure it out if a few people leave, or even if 10% of your sales force leaves, you can figure it out because you've got a big enough team that you can sort of balance things out. The problem in a startup is that a lot of times, for any one role in the company, there's only one employee who does it. So that employee is by definition key. They're the only one who does it, they're the only one who ever does it, they're the only one who knows how to do it. And if you lose that one key person, the entire company can be less effective. So you really have to focus in an early stage company of how to make every employee retained and every employee excited about the future, or risk the entire company coming apart. In fact, in small companies, individual employees are very hard to replace. And the last and most important reason is the loss of hope. People work in small early stage companies on the hope of taking over the world and changing the world. And as excited as you can expect them to be about the fact that they all just made $1 million, you just destroyed their hope of making $100 million. And that loss of hope, not only on the financial side, but their loss of hope of really changing the world. It's hard to believe you're going to have the same opportunity to change the world when you're part of a big company as when you are this small group of 20 people who's making things happen every day. You have to protect from that loss of hope, both by providing good financial incentives in the long term, as well as protecting their ability to accomplish the vision they had to start with. Again, early stage companies are a great opportunity to change the trajectory of your company. They're a great way to inject new DNA in your company, but most of them fail, and most of them fail because they don't focus on these 4 points. The future, a lot of the value is tied up in the future, not the past. They destroy the DNA and the culture of the company. They don't understand that every employee, no matter how junior, is probably critically important to the company. And they destroy the hope that the company employees had before they were sold. On the other hand, for anybody who's used Facebook today and seen that rich experience you have in the browser of how that all these unique things happen in browsers that never happened before, had Facebook not acquired an early stage company called Parakeet, that might have never happened. Everybody who has an experience with YouTube and sees what happens, had Google not been successful in acquiring YouTube, a lot of that probably would have never happened, what you see today. So there's a lot of opportunity to build value in early stage company acquisitions, but you have to approach them differently.